Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be doing a book review, and the book I'm going to be reviewing is The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson. And I read this, I finished it a couple weeks ago, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and this story follows the main character's name is Rory, and her family end up moving to England, and Rory ends up going to a boarding school in London. And right before they get to England, though, the first Jack the Ripper murder occurs, and so, well, not the first Jack the Ripper. What would it called? A copycat, I guess. Because the original Jack the Ripper happened in like 18 something. I forget when. But and this is present day our time, so pretty much someone who is copying the same murders as Jack the Ripper. So the first one occurs before they get to England, and Rory ends up going to the boarding school in London, which is right in the middle of where all these murders end up taking place later on. And Rory ends up actually talking to a guy who is later the prime suspect, the police prime suspect. So she, saw him and ended up talking to him, but no one else around her could see him. Even, her roommate, who was right there next to her, couldn't see who she was talking to. So it's kind of like, what's going on, right? So that's pretty much the basis of the story. I don't want to say too much else because I don't want to give anything away. I will do a spoiler review after this because there is more that I want to talk about, and one scene in particular that I want to get into, but I can't without getting into spoilers. But anyway, so I won't say too much else because I don't want, like I said, I don't want to get into spoilers. But I did really enjoy this book. I like the characters, some more so than the others. I think I like Rory and Boo and Jazza. I like them the most. So, but I did enjoy the characters. The storyline was really interesting. It gripped me from the beginning, from the very first couple of pages in the beginning. Okay, so I'll go back and tell you kind of how I picked this one up to read, because I started it last month in October. And I was trying to figure out what book I wanted to read next. And there were several on my list that I've been wanting to read. And I wanted like kind of a spooky horror book since it was October. And so I picked up a couple from my shelves, and I read like the first couple pages in each book, and then whichever one grabbed my attention the most, that's the one I ended up reading. That's how I choose my books sometimes. But anyway, that's how I ended up choosing this one to read, as this one compelled me the most, because the first scene in this book it's really, really creepy, and it sets up the murder scene. This woman on her way to work trips over, isn't looking where she's going, ends up tripping over a body, and there's blood everywhere. And the way the scene sets up, was really, really creepy, but really caught your attention and made you go like, you just had to read more. You had to find out what was going on, what's gonna happen next. And so that's pretty much why I chose this, and I continued to read it. And so there are moments in this book where, like, there are some scenes, the murder scenes, that are really creepy, and you're kind of like, okay, this is kind of giving me goosebumps. But it still was like, I need to know what's going to happen. I need to find out what's going to happen next. So there was a lot of times where you don't want to put it down. There are some parts in the middle, though, that I did find was kind of slow a little bit and did lose my attention a little bit. And I think those were mainly the parts where Rory was just adjusting to being in a new school and a new place and meeting new friends and getting acclimated. And so those parts sort of took me out of it a little, where I was kind of like, okay, let's get to the real stuff. Let's get back to the interesting stuff, like what happened in the beginning. But then it does pick up, especially later on, when Rory ends up talking to the prime suspect. Then from there, things seem to pretty much pick up, because later on he goes after Rory. And so, yeah, it's just, this was a really interesting book. It's the first book in the Shades of London series. And so the ending is a little bit of a cliffhanger. Not totally unbearable, not like those cliffhangers where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die without the next book immediately. So it's not like the Mara Diary cliffhangers or the Arcana Chronicle cliffhangers. Those cliffhangers, ugh, I hate them. But this one, it wraps up, the story wraps up pretty nicely, but you know, because of the way it ends, you know that it's not over. There's more to the story, there's more to come, more that's going to happen. So, but it's not like an unbearable, like, I need it now, type of thing. So I did like that. But yeah, so if you're looking for something kind of spooky, kind of creepy, this did give me the creeps a couple times. Some scenes was kind of like, especially because there were a couple times I'd be reading it, it was at night, I was home alone, I had to make sure every light in the house was on, so I'm like, any tiny little noise, I'm like, oh gosh, I shouldn't be reading this right now. So it did kind of creep me out. But it was still really, really interesting, and I do want to continue and read the rest of the series and see what happens next. So yeah, that's it pretty much for my non-spoiler review. I am going to get into spoilers in the next part. So yeah, if you have read this book, stick around for the spoiler review and let me know. We can discuss what you thought about it. And if you haven't, I would say definitely, if you like kind of spooky, creepy books, I would say pick this one up because it It was really good. So, yeah, I will see you guys soon with the spoiler reviews. So, bye.